Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful bustier tube top with an attached sleeve. So if that is what you want to learn how to make, keep watching this video to the very end and let's head straight to the tutorial proper. Firstly, you'll be needing your basic bodice front all the way to wherever you want your blouse length to stop. So the next thing now, I'm going to be determining the depth of my tube neckline. Okay, I'm going ahead to determine the depth of my tube neckline. Now I want to say something as a disclaimer. As a modest fashion designer, this tube will always reveal cleavage because it's a tube, definitely. So I'm going to be layering this to give it a cute style. Now I decided to go in with this neckline and then we're going ahead to draw it in from the armhole all the way like so, and this is what it looks like, right? So having done that, because it's a tube, we have to contour so that it does not gap when we put it on. And now from my neckline, I'm going ahead to mark 1.5 inches so I can impute my neckline contour that. So having drawn that line from the 1.5 inches to my bust point, all I'm going to do now is to go ahead and contour my under bust line by marking 1 inch apart from the bust span. So from the nipple to nipple, sorry, 1 inch apart. Okay. So having done that, now I'm going to be connecting this point together, connecting it to the bust point like so, and down to the waist line that like so. And that's basically the contour for the under bust. This contour helps your under bust to fit very well. Like the silhouette of a feminine figure, the contour will help it to fit very well. So now we have not imputed the dart for the neckline contour. And before you do that, you have to impute your bust arc, which is the measurement or the distance from your bust point to your under bust. So here is 2.5 and I'm going ahead to impute it like so. And having done that, I'm going to be joining the dotted lines together to create my bust arc. Now on top of this bust arc, that is where you're going to be imputing your dart excess. That's where you're going to be imputing the number of inches or inch you're using for your darts for the neckline contour dart. So I've done mine. This should be around 0.25 to 0.5 inches, please. 0.25 to 0.5 inches. Having done that, this is what it looks like. Okay, so now some part of the shoulder went into the sleeve. If you look at the picture at the top of the screen, some part of the shoulder went into the sleeve. So we are not contouring the shoulder area. We are not imputing the shoulder contour dart. We'll go ahead now to contour the armhole because obviously this is a tube and so we want it to be fitted around the armhole. We do not want anywhere to gap, so we're going to be contouring the armhole like this, and the dart excess for this is 0.5 inches. Having done that, now this is what it looks like. And so the next thing we are going to do is to impute. I'm going to be marking, the midpoint of my shoulder like so, and I'm connecting that line to my bust point. This will serve as our style line for the shoulder princess darts. So this all here is the darts we need to create the design. Firstly, to manipulate the darts, I'm going to be opening my side bust dart. And having opened my side bust dart, I'm going to be opening the whole of the contour dart, close them up and transfer the excess to my side bust dart. I open the contour darts, close them up with my sellotape, transfer the excess to the side bust dart. So that is what I'm doing right now. I've closed that of the armhole and I'll go ahead to close that of the neckline. Remember, we are closing them up and transferring the excess to the side bust darts that we just opened up. So having done that, this is what we are having right now. And because of the cuts and close and openings, our neckline our neckline style line for the tube kind of had some breakages somewhere. I went ahead to smoothen it out, but that's nothing to worry about. I went ahead to smoothen it out, and this is what it looks like. So now we're going to be cutting that style line for our shoulder princess dart. We'll cut it open, and then we transfer those excesses, including the one at the side bust dart, to that area, and we close the side bust dart like so. So basically we've created the shoulder princess dart. And the next thing we are going to do now, remember some part of the shoulder went into the sleeve. Now this is my basic sleeve. I'm going to be cutting, I wrote front, sorry, and back. And now I'm going to be cutting this into two from the center. And then we're going to be working with the front, because of course we are working on the front bodies. So we pick up the front sleeve and attach it to this very tip of the shoulder like so. And with my tape, I'm going to be holding that down. So now the amount of shoulder that I want to go into this design is 1 inch. So I had to measure 1 inch, and I'm going to square in a line down to meet my neckline for the tube. From that 1 inch, I'll square a line down to meet my neckline for the tube. You want to take note of that point, because while joining this sleeve to the tube, you're going to be needing that very part. So you remember this is your upper round arm circumference. This area is your upper round arm circumference, right? So just keep that in mind. Now we're going to be cutting this very part of the sleeve off. Okay, this part of the sleeve is the part where you're going to be sewing up at the under of your armhole. But since we are not going to be creating that kind of sleeve design, we have to take this part off. And now we've taken it off. So basically this is what you're going to be having now. And next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the shape of my tube neckline. That's what I'm doing right now. So we'll be discarding that, of course. And this kind of ripped, so I'm going to be using my tape to hold it down. You want to be very careful while doing this, so everything is in line. We're also going to be just setting this aside so we can deal with the tube proper. Can, finish up, remove the darts and all that. So I'm going ahead to remove the darts. That is what I'm doing right now. Also taking this off. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe. It's totally for free. Just hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you'll be the very first person to know whenever I post lovely tutorial videos like this. So now I'm going ahead to, of course, smoothing out that part because we do not want any pointy edge. So it comes out natural and beautiful like the way it should be. Okay, so we don't want those pointy edges. I'm going ahead to smoothen that out, and I'll use my scissors to cut out on the part where I marked, like so. I felt like I should smoothen this out a little bit because it's kind of pointy, but this side doesn't really matter. It's the other side that matters most. So now this is the part for the tube. And now remember the 1 inch line that was attached to the sleeve, okay? I'm going ahead here to check the point where it is, because at this point it was as if I was confused. But thanks to pattern drafting, I later realized I had to cut this part off. Remember, we used 1 inch to attach to the sleeve. Like we want 1 inch from the shoulder to sit on the tube design. I hope you guys understand. Just look at the one on top of the screen. So this is it right now. This is what is looking like now. So we're going to be working on the sleeve. I went ahead to fill up those holes there, and I'm labeling up around circumference so I don't get confused. I remember this other side is your center sleeve. This is your shoulder, of course, and this other side is your center sleeve and the upper arm circumference. That side is your center sleeve. So we're going ahead to slash and spread this area because this is the side you're going to be gathering to the tube bustier. Okay, this is the part you're going to be gathering to the tube bustier. Now the reason why we are slashing and spreading is to add fullness. If you gather this just like that, when you put it on, you might find it difficult to raise your arm, or because you won't be comfortable. But when you add fullness, you can raise your arm and be comfortable wearing this design and all that. So we're going to add fullness so that you feel very comfortable wearing this sleeve. You can raise your arm, you can swing your arm and all that. So that's why we're adding fullness. And the fullness we're adding, you see the part I'm cutting. Do not touch any other part. You add fullness at this part where I am cutting. And I'm going to be spreading this out on the fresh pattern paper like so. Do not slash and spread excessively. Just a little slash and spread. Just a little. Look at what I did. Just a little. And after that, we'll set it aside. And of course, we're going to be working on the back, which is also very simple. So this is our back for this design. And from my shoulder, I'll go ahead and come down by 3 inches like so. I'll use my ruler to square a line on that 3-inch mark. And having squared the line on that 3-inch mark, I'm going to be measuring my bust apart measurement on that 3-inch line from my center back. Having gotten that, we're going to be recreating a new dart to the waistline from that point. And this is going to serve as the back contour. Remember, it's a tube, so you don't want to have anything gapping. You want it to be fitted on your body and all that. Now, the reason why pattern drafting is necessary is that you don't have to do trial by error. This method is going to work for any size. And if you're making it for your clients, you don't have to fear. You don't really have the fear of, when the person comes to wear it, it's not going to fit. They're going to adjust this. Everything is going to come out nice. That is one of the most important benefits of pattern drafting. So now we are coming down by whatever inches you want to use as your neck depth line, but be sure that this part of your armhole is going to be your guide because it's a tube. Okay, you're not attaching any sleeve, so this very part of your armhole should be a guide for you. Okay, so this is what I'm using as my neckline, like so. Then I went ahead to extend my bust apart measurement all the way to the hem of the blouse. Then I picked up my sleeve for the back, and I'm going to be attaching it to this very tip of the shoulder for the back, like so. So yeah, this is what it looks like right now. Same 1 inch we used for the front, and for the back, we're also going to be marking 1 inch. And I'm going to be connecting that 1 inch to the tube neckline for the back, like so. Squaring a line down to the tube neckline for the back, like so. And also, we are going to be removing that part of the sleeve where we're supposed to sew for the underarm, for the underarm, if we are using the regular sleeve method, So I'm going ahead now to cut. So be sure of where your back tube neckline started and just watch closely what I am doing. So this is what we're having right now for the back. And that very point is where I'm going to be starting to attach the sleeve. Very important. You have to mark it on your paper and also mark it on your fabric. So when you're gathering this the detachable sleeve on your bodies, you're not going to get confused on where to gather it on. You mark it on the pattern, you also mark it on your fabric. So now I'm cutting out the dart for the back. And this is all for the back tube. This is all for it. So we are going to set it aside and work on the sleeve, which is very simple. We are going to slash and spread. I added additional pattern paper to fill up every hole that is open. So we're going to slash and spread like we did for the front. I'm going to be opening this up on a fresh pattern paper like so, just like we did for the front. Like I said, do not open it up excessively, just a little, to help you move your arm around when you put on this top. So here is it for the back and the front. We're going to be joining these two together. Remember, there is no stitching at the center. So we're going to be joining these two together. I added a fresh pattern paper underneath, and I'm going to be using my tape to hold them down. That very added fullness at the shoulder is also going to help you to move your arm around. So we're cutting off all the excesses like so. Be sure you label where is shoulder, where you should gather, and of course and all that. So I've folded this. I'm going to be cutting this out in the fresh pattern paper, so we don't have all these rough slash and spread, effect like you saw in the intro of the video. So we're going to be cutting this out. I have to cut it out on a fresh pattern paper, and this is what it looks like right now. Please, at this point, if you're going to get confused, do not throw away the original pattern, or you can as well transfer it from this to your fabric. It's for the sake of this tutorial that I had to cut it out on a fresh pattern paper. But if you're going to get confused, please just let it be the way it is here and transfer it to your fabric. So this is what it looks like. I labeled front and back so I don't get confused. So these are all the patterns, front, back together. And what we're going to do now is to attach the sleeve, right? So you're attaching front to the front and of course back to the back. And I'm going to be showing you how to do that in a jiffy. Remember this part, the very straight part is the shoulder. I didn't discard this so I don't get confused. The very straight part is the shoulder, okay? So we're going to be gathering this part. You want to run a loose stitch on this area and then you pull it to gather it on the amount of space it should be on the tube. I hope that makes sense. You will run a loose stitch and then you gather it on the amount of space where it should be on the tube. I want to believe you've marked it on your fabric, so you gather it here and you top stitch, or of course you're going to top stitch. Remember, you're gathering it at the wrong side of the fabric, so you top stitch on top on the right side of the fabric. So this is what I've done right now, and same thing we'll be doing to the back. So voila, this is what it looks like right now. You guys, can you see that? And of course you're going to be joining this part together. So this is basically what you should be having. This is what it looks like. Thanks for watching this very tutorial. If you have any question, leave it in the comment section. Do well to share this video in other sewing platforms where they will be needed. And if you haven't subscribed, do not forget to do so. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye.